Music Originals presents My Pet Slime, Saving Cosmo, Book 7, by Courtney Shinewell and Colleen A.F. Venable, illustrated by Renee Carilla, performed by Rachel L. Jacobs. For Zach. 1. Caught you. The past 2 days were the weirdest of my life. They'd ended with me sitting in a cell with my space-traveling grandma, my old enemy Claire, who is now my best friend, and my pet slime, of course. Yes, I have a pet who is made of slime. Cosmo was made out of normal slime, plus paint. I am an artist, after all. But it wasn't until some dust fell on him that he came alive. Well, not just any dust. Space dust. And space dust was also the reason we were stuck in that cell. This super evil corporation called Mala kidnapped Grandma Sadie and demanded the dust back. But they didn't know I had already used it. So we'd had no choice but to save Grandma Sadie ourselves. We'd had a brilliant plan. Well, maybe we hadn't exactly had a plan. But we had Cosmo, who is not only cute and cuddly, he's also magical. He flattened into a pancake and snuck under the door at Mala's headquarters. He picked Grandma Sadie's cell lock. It looked like Cosmo was going to save us all, until we heard a voice behind us yell, "Caught you." It was Claire's Uncle Ricky, who worked at Mala. That's when we knew he must be evil too. "Uncle Ricky? What are you doing?" Claire asked. She couldn't believe her uncle was one of the bad guys. Uncle Ricky looked at us for a second. I could tell he was thinking something through. I could also tell that he hadn't noticed Cosmo. Finally, Uncle Ricky's face shifted into a smile. He leaned toward Claire and quietly whispered, "Shh, I have to pretend to be on their side, just until I can help you all escape." Claire looked smug and turned to me and Cosmo. "See, Piper," Claire said. "I told you he wasn't a bad guy. No one in my family could ever be evil." I looked over at Grandma Sadie. She seemed relieved too. "Ricky Bryson. Phew, you had me scared for a second there," Grandma Sadie said. "I've always heard such good things about you in the science community. It would be a shame if you had gone bad." Uncle Ricky laughed. Like, really laughed, a bit more than I thought was necessary. It made me nervous. I looked down at Cosmo. He looked like a normal ball of slime. Cosmo didn't come alive for Uncle Ricky. Did Cosmo know something we didn't? Cosmo also hadn't come alive for my parents. But I thought he was just being shy. I wondered why he was being shy now. What's the plan, Ricky? I'm so glad to be out of that cell, Grandma Sadie said. I bet you have the best plan, right, Uncle Ricky? Claire said. Uncle Ricky looked around, making sure no one could hear. There's a secret door in cell 9. It leads to an underground escape tunnel. Do you have any plans that don't involve me going back into a cell? Grandma Sadie asked. I was so bored. You were in cell 8. Cell 9 is much nicer, Uncle Ricky said with a huge smile. Uncle Ricky started to tiptoe down the hallway, one hand on Claire's head and the other rolling her scooter for her. I walked behind them, my arms wrapped tightly around Cosmo. Come on, Cosmo. Tell me what to do, I thought. We turned a corner, and there was a big camera hanging from the ceiling. Ah, yes, prisoners. Here we are. You won't be getting out again, Uncle Ricky said loudly, his face toward the camera. He turned back and winked at us. Uncle Ricky unlocked the cell, and I found out he was telling the truth about at least one thing. Cell 9 was definitely nicer than Cell 8. It had a white table, a white sofa, white chairs, and white walls. It was as if someone had dipped the entire room in a can of white paint. Actually, it looked like my dentist's office, only there was no bowl of stickers or giant smiling tooth cartoon on the wall. It made me wish I had my paint set. Or better yet, a bunch of paint buckets like Jackson Pollock used. Jackson Pollock became famous for his paintings, but he didn't use a brush. Instead, he would throw, splash, and pour his paint. The final works were layers and layers of splatters and swirls, all in different colors. They called it abstract art because it didn't look like anything other than a whole lot of fun to make. I looked around the cell and noticed a camera on the wall. There were cameras everywhere here. Uncle Ricky saw me looking at it. He winked, which is a cool grown-up thing I haven't figured out how to do, and he blocked the camera's view with his body. Uncle Ricky leaned in and whispered, Okay, see that button on the wall? He pointed to a corner of the cell. Sure enough, there was a white button, and around the button you could see the faint outline of a small square door. That button opens a door to a secret tunnel, Uncle Ricky whispered. You need to press it for 10 seconds, but not yet. Wait for night when most of the staff has gone home. If the staff is home, can't you sneak us out the regular door? That tunnel looks kinda small, I said. We can manage. I go through openings that small on the spaceship all the time, said Grandma Sadie. Have I mentioned that my grandma is the coolest? Because my grandma is the coolest. She's been to space more times than most people have been on a plane. There are guards at the exits all night, but the guard in the monitor room always falls asleep after he eats his dinner. The tunnel will be safer, but only if you wait until night, Uncle Ricky said. There's no window or clock. How are we going to know when it's night? I asked. NP, said Claire, looking down at her phone. That means no problem. But then she looked sad. No, batteries ran out. And then she looked happy again. Oh, I have an idea. How about you use a secret knock on the door when it's time? Claire walked over and knocked on the back of the cell door. 2 long taps and 3 fast taps, a little louder. Tap, 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 tap. Uncle Ricky's face fell. Where did you learn that knock? My dad taught it to me, Claire beamed. My brother and I used that knock for our secret clubhouse when we were kids, Uncle Ricky said, looking down at the floor. Great! You already know it, Claire said. Uncle Ricky almost looked like he might cry, which was really strange. Then he turned his back to leave. I looked down and noticed that as Uncle Ricky walked away, Cosmo came back to life. Thank you so much, Ricky, Grandma Sadie said. I'm glad you're on our side. You're a good guy. Yes. Yes, I am, Uncle Ricky said, and he closed the door with a loud clank that was followed by a softer click as the lock slid into place. I looked down at Cosmo. His normal sparkly purple had turned a bright yellow. 2. A slime of a different color. Cosmo is yellow, I exclaimed, worried. I held him up for Grandma Sadie and Claire to see. They both looked at me blankly. Cosmo was back to his normal cute purple color. Huh. Well, he was yellow, I said, scratching my head. I think he was trying to tell us something. It's okay, Pipsqueak. It's been a stressful day, Grandma Sadie said. I sat down on the white floor and hugged Cosmo tight. Grandma Sadie inspected the room while Claire scooted back and forth in the 10 feet of space. Seems like there are actually 2 cameras in here. One there and one there, Grandma Sadie whispered, tilting her head toward opposite corners of the room. We'll have to be careful about what we do and what we say until Ricky gives us the signal. My stomach felt funny. Are you sure he's going to help us? I finally asked. Claire scoffed. Of course he is. Like my only uncle would keep me in a cell? Ha! I trust Ricky Piper. And he is Claire's uncle, Grandma Sadie said. I just wish I'd known he was around earlier so I could have asked for some dominoes to pass the time. Less than a minute later, we heard a big ka-chung. Someone was opening the door. There was no secret knock. We all huddled together, and I felt Cosmo give me a hug before he turned back into normal slime. "Hey-ho," Uncle Ricky said as he popped his head into the cell. "I thought you might want some things to keep you entertained." In his hands were more board games than I could count. He put them all down on the white table. "Yes," said Claire, inspecting the games. "Checkers, backgammon, a bag of marbles, Monopoly, Pictionary, and a jigsaw puzzle of a cute cat." "And these are for you, see," Uncle Ricky said, handing Grandma a brand new box of dominoes. "That's so sweet of you, Ricky," Grandma Sadie said, taking the dominoes with a big smile. "I meant to ask before. Have you seen Eric? He was helping me, but I haven't seen him in a while." "Oh, yeah, Eric," Uncle Ricky said. "He, went on break." In my hands, I felt Cosmo come alive. I looked down and he was bright yellow again. This time, Grandma Sadie noticed. I could see it in her eyes, but she didn't say anything. "I have one more surprise," Uncle Ricky said. He ducked through the door, and when he came back, he was holding a tray. On the tray were glasses of milk and fresh brownies. They smelled delicious. In my hands, Cosmo turned back to purple. Maybe Uncle Ricky wasn't a bad guy after all. "See?" Claire whispered, her mouth full of brownie. "I told you my uncle was a good guy. Piper was worried you weren't really trying to save us." "Of course I am," Uncle Ricky whispered back. Grandma Sadie looked me straight in the eyes and then flicked her eyes down toward my hands. When I looked down at Cosmo, I saw he was yellow again. "Bye, Uncle Ricky," Claire said as he started to close the door. "Don't forget our secret knock," she added in a whisper. "Couldn't if I tried," Uncle Ricky said as the door clanked shut. As soon as he was gone, Grandma Sadie held her hands in front of her mouth so the people watching the cameras couldn't see her speaking. "Girls," she whispered, "I think we're in trouble." 3. Cosmo's new power. Grandma Sadie bent down and put her face right next to Cosmo. "Hi, Cosmo. I love soda," she said. That made me laugh. "No, you don't. You always say it tickles your nose and it's super bad for you anyway." I stopped my sentence short. Cosmo had turned yellow. "Whoa, you were right. He's yellow. I hope he's not sick," Claire said, feeling his little forehead to see if he had a fever. "I think we just discovered another one of Cosmo's powers," said Grandma Sadie. "Huh?" Claire said. "Say something that's true, Claire. How about you tell me how much you like your scooter?" Grandma Sadie said. I love my scooter. It's the best scooter. It's really fast, even without Cosmo supercharging. Whoa! Claire cut herself off. Cosmo had turned back to purple. I think he can tell when someone is lying, I said. What? That's not possible, Claire said. I'll try it. I don't like making art at all, I lied. Cosmo turned yellow. Now, say something true, Grandma Sadie said. I want to be a professional artist when I grow up, I said. Cosmo's slime returned to its usual sparkly purple. That's so cool, Claire exclaimed. But remember the first time he turned yellow? I asked. Grandma Sadie nodded and gave me a hug. I do, Pipsqueak. I do. Claire put another brownie in her mouth. You lost me there, she said between chews. It was when your uncle said he was going to help us, I said. I think he may be lying. I felt bad making Claire sad. She was my best friend. After Cosmo and Grandma Sadie, of course. She stopped chewing and her face got red. That's not true. No one in my family would be that awful, Claire said, looking away. You'll see when that door opens. Claire pointed toward the secret button her uncle had told us about. I could tell the gears were turning in her head. She ran over to the wall and pressed it. We all waited. 1, 2, 3, 4. Claire counted all the way to 15. Nothing happened. There was no secret door. Uncle Ricky had definitely lied. Cosmo reached out to Claire. I handed him to her and he hugged her. She buried her face in his squishy body. We're going to be stuck here forever, she said. It's okay, Claire. We'll get out of this. Cosmo will flatten himself down and sneak under the door again. Then he'll pick the lock. You'll be safe at home in no time, and then we can tell the police what Mala has been up to. Right then, a voice came over a speaker, and we all jumped in surprise. It was a voice we all knew. Settle down, Claire. I'm not one of the bad guys. Not really. Uncle Ricky's voice was distorted by the speakers, but it was definitely him. And he was definitely one of the bad guys. You were never supposed to get mixed up in this, Uncle Ricky continued. This isn't about you. It's about the space dust. If your friend would just hand it over. Then Uncle Ricky's voice was interrupted by another voice I recognized. A much scarier one. It was the triangle hair lady, Doreen. She was the first scary Mala employee I had encountered, and what she said made me shake in my shoes. That slime. I just saw it move, It's alive. It must have absorbed the space dust. Go get it. 4. The other prisoner. Quick, Cosmo, we need to get out of here, I yelled frantically, grabbing him from Claire's arms. But the Mala employees were too fast. The second the door opened, Cosmo turned back into a normal blob, losing all his powers. I held on to him as tight as I could, but there were too many of them. 2 of them grabbed Grandma Sadie. Uncle Ricky picked up Claire. Someone grabbed me. I saw hands reaching for Cosmo, but I couldn't let go. I had to be strong. I felt Cosmo slip from my fingers. No! Got it, Doreen. A man with a long gray goatee yelled at Doreen. He examined Cosmo and made a weird face. Whatever it is. Gross. It was over before I had a chance to react. The door closed with a clank. Cosmo was gone. I started to cry. Claire pounded on the door and yelled, "How dare you! And you call yourselves scientists!" Then I heard it, a faint voice from the wall. It sounded like it was coming from another cell. "Grandma, I think there's someone in the next cell," I said. I heard it too. "Eric, is that you?" she yelled directly at the wall. There was a reply, but it was too soft to hear. Grandma Sadie ran to the table and picked up 2 glasses of milk. She held them out to Claire and me. "Quick, drink these," Grandma Sadie said. "Yeah, those meanies think they can steal Cosmo and my scooter? We're going to drink this milk and get super buff and break out of here?" Claire said, then drank her milk in a single gulp. I just held mine while Grandma Sadie grabbed the 3rd glass and drank it quickly. "I don't understand," I said, slowly wiping away my tears. "Done," Claire said. Grandma Sadie placed the open end of her empty glass against the wall and put her ear against the bottom of the glass. What are you doing?" asked Claire. "A glass can help amplify sound. When I press my ear against it, the sound seems louder and is easier to understand," Grandma Sadie explained. "Whoa, cool. I want to try too." Claire put her glass against the wall and leaned in to listen. I was too sad to drink milk or eat brownies or do anything ever again. I had lost Cosmo. "Eric, is that you?" Grandma Sadie yelled at the wall. I heard a muffled voice. "Oh no! Are you being punished for helping me?" Grandma Sadie yelled back. There was some more muffled speaking. "Yes, they took my granddaughter's pet, Cosmo, and my scooter," interrupted Claire. It was weird to hear only one side of the conversation, but my heart was too broken to care. That is, until Grandma said something that got my attention. You know where they took Cosmo? Cosmo! I drank my milk quickly and put my glass against the wall. They have a special lab where they test anything related to space dust. It's Lab Q. It's on the second floor near the racquetball courts, Eric said. His voice was faint, but it was clear enough to understand. They have racquetball courts? Weird, said Claire. My mind started racing. We had to get to the second floor. I was developing a plan. I grabbed a $100 bill from the Monopoly box and started to fold it. Grandma Sadie noticed. You okay, Pipsqueak? She asked. More than okay. I have a plan, I replied. How can a glass help you hear through walls? Right now, you have a great piece of spy equipment in your kitchen. A drinking glass. Grandma Sadie showed the girls how to hold a glass to the wall to hear Eric in the next room. Because a glass acts like a funnel, it gathers up the vibrations caused by sound waves into a smaller area. When you press your ear against the glass, the sound is amplified. You can try this at home. Just make sure the rim of the glass is against the wall and, of course, the glass is empty. What's Piper's plan? Find out in My Pet Slime, Saving Cosmo.